I was like, this feels...
It definitely didn't look like anywhere in Jamaica.
Exactly.
Yeah, it definitely didn't feel like Jamaica. It was like breathtaking.
Yeah. So we got out, we docked, and we got out. We did our photo shoot. This water was clear as ever.
So perfect.
And the vibes were vibing. They had the music. They had the... What's the Jamaican? What do they call it? We say weed. They got a better name. There you go. They had all that stuff going, and it was a vibe.
Hey y'all.
Hey y'all, hey. Welcome to another episode of Travel Fly Sexy. I'm your co-host, Natasha Wilson, owner of Accommodations International.
And I am your co-host, Jasmine Anderson, aka Sincerely Jasmine, owner of Boss Babes Love Brunch.
Period. So we're gonna jump right in because literally I started this episode laughing and I had to like pull it in to say hello. But nevertheless, we're jumping right into Gotta Smell today because child, this trending travel topic is interesting.
Yes. I love starting the episodes with some mess.
It's a mess for me.
I'm the messy one. So this week's Gotta Smell is, I know y'all seen it. So we had...
I can't stop laughing.
This very gaudy man.
Eclectic.
Yes, very bright gentleman exiting a plane. So the plane was deplaning. Obviously, they had just landed, and he was making his way to the front.
You know, when people land before the plane even attaches itself to the airport, they already up in the aisle.
Be like, sit down. We can't go nowhere till y'all sit down. So literally, you can tell that it was just literally getting to the point where the doors had just opened. People were just standing up, you know, starting to go for their bags. And this gentleman said, I gotta go.
To where? We don't know.
So he had his lunch from his destination, and he like, I'm home now. I gotta go. He had a gold Michael Kors bomber, and that's how I like refound the clip. I'm like, guy in gold jacket. But ultimately, he got into an argument with a group of women. Because they're like, don't be rude. And he's like, you don't be rude. And he had this very distinct voice. I know y'all saw this video.
Yes. It was so good.
Yeah, he was just making his way off the plane. And I just thought it was a crazy topic because obviously it was a chaotic video.
Well, that's not how I work. I make the rules as I go. Well, I make the rules as I go. I don't know about you, but I do.
Well, I break them.
Guess what? And I'm breaking them right now, too. Excuse me.
Oh my God.
Hey, boss.
Hey, we got a hostile one back here.
Yes, we do. He is too. He's knocking people over.
Don't be rude to me, because one thing I can do is be rude back to you. It's what I can be.
Oh. Let's just take it down.
I am, but I'm just saying, she's talking I'm hostile, but I can be rude as well. I didn't push no damn button.
First things first, when you watch the video, you do not anticipate that this is the voice associated with this human.
No,
that's number
not
one.
at all.
So that took me out. Then he has on a bright gold Michael Kors bomber.
Like, sir.
And he's holding Chinese store takeout. Like the plastic bag tied in a knot with the platter. Like the whole aesthetic was a mess. And then on top of that, he is literally arguing with this group of Caucasian women.
Yes, they was white women.
And they were like, sir, what's really good? And he was just like, I got to go.
He stood his ground. He like, don't be rude to me. Like, I have to go. And it's like, sir. And I also saw a recap, like a video of him after the situation where he was basically saying, I said what I said. He said, I've been traveling all day. I was tired and I was ready to get off that plane. I said what I said and they was being rude. So he stood on it. He did not feel like it was a moment. He said he had to go.
And I appreciate him standing on it because had he recanted, I would have been disappointed because he was just ready and he was on go.
Yes.
And eventually he made it off the plane. And to be honest, I felt like while the situation itself was kind of a little bit much, I personally felt like he had a poise about him.
Yeah.
Like they were essentially saying little smart comments and little snide things, but his head remained high and he just was remaining in his position of, I'm getting off of this plane, whether it's past you or through you.
Yeah, he definitely bumped them ladies.
But he got off and they went about their merry way. So
I can appreciate he didn't have much. Like, he didn't have a lot, you know? So whether, like, he was, like, rummaging through the aisles with all these bags or a backpack on, he just had his jacket and his Chinese food. So
that was actually enough for me. That was much for me. That jacket and that
jacket was enough.
Chinese food to go container. No.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. But it did make me cringe because, honestly, I hate when people get so over eager to get off the plane. I'm like, we all want to go home. Like, obviously, we've all been on this plane for the duration. If the plane was delayed or, you know, if we've been going through something, we've probably been going through it together.
Right.
Like, it's been a long day together, more than likely. So it does make me cringe a bit when people are, like, so eager to get off the plane.
Child, sit down.
Yeah.
And just wait.
It's an order. It's a process. Like, you know, like, it's a process in place.
Yeah, honestly, comment below if you are the person who stands up when the plane hits the ground, or if you're waiting it out until it's your time in your seat and your row, and you're gracefully exiting the aircraft.
Yes,
we want to know.
And be honest. But I do feel like those people who are standing up have no problem with being honest. So they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go. I just flew for 4 hours." Like, me too, sis. Me too. It is still going to be a process to get out, but so that was crazy.
More of the story: the gold jacket man, in my opinion, still won.
Yeah, he got off. He got off before them, so he did what he came to do.
He did what he came to do. Oh God, that was too good.
That was crazy.
But nevertheless, today's episode is going to be all about Jamaica.
Yes.
Before we jump into our episode, what are we sipping on today, Jess?
So we have some cupcake prosecco today, a classic.
Keeping it cute. Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Period. This is actually my first time
trying cupcake.
Trying this prosecco.
Really?
And I don't hate it.
It would be better chill.
I don't hate it.
But that was my B.
It's cute.
But yes, let's get into Jamaica. I love Jamaica, y'all. Like, I love Jamaica. And Tasha gonna tell y'all how I loved it. We're gonna get into it.
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna give it a B.
So obviously we've both been to Jamaica before, but we just recently came from a TGI fam trip to Jamaica, where we visited the Ocean Coral Spring and the Ocean Eden Bay properties.
Yes. So just in case you are unfamiliar with what that term fam is, and also unfamiliar with TGI, Jasmine and I are both a part of Travel Goddess International, which is a full-service travel agency that can assist you with bringing your next unforgettable vacation experience to life. And because we are a part of a travel agency, we're often invited to different resorts and properties to experience the offering so that we can tell you guys and that we can send you on a wonderful vacation. So the latest fam trip that we attended was in Jamaica with the ocean properties, and it was wonderful.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful properties. Like, I know we've talked about so many amazing properties, but honestly, by far my favorite that we spoke on the show.
Every week is Jasmine got a favorite, yo.
I just love nice stuff.
No, but so what was that, your second or third time in Jamaica?
Second.
Yes. And I think that was my fourth time in Jamaica. So we both agree you can't go wrong with Jamaica. That's first and foremost.
Yes.
But we're gonna spend this episode kind of really diving into the full experience at Ocean, as well as the full experience kind of in Jamaica and how you can maximize your time. So we were there for 4 days and 3 nights, and we really did do a lot. So first things first is let's kind of talk about the ocean properties.
Yes.
And we say properties because it's one of those properties that has 2 for 1.
Exactly. So they have two properties that sit right next to each other. One is family friendly, and then the other is the adults only. So the one that we stayed at is the Ocean Coral Spring, which is the family friendly side. I would say though, both resorts were very mature.
I agree. Yep.
Despite it being family friendly, it did not feel like it was
Like
childish or it was like a kid friendly resort. It was definitely family friendly and you can bring your children.
Correct.
But it was not like
catered
to children.
The family experience. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Which I thought was great.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I saw some kids, but again, they didn't impede upon the experience for sure. So the two resorts share basically the compound, so it's easy to walk between the two. Yep. But obviously, when you're staying on the Eden Bay side, which is the adults only side, then you will not see children, but you do have access to the Coral Spring side. Yeah. It is not vice versa. If you're staying on Coral Spring, you do not have access to Eden Bay. Exactly. So those Eden Bay adults only folks can stay at one and play at two, which we love.
Which we love.
Period.
We love that.
So we particularly stayed in junior suites.
Yes.
And we had privilege access.
Which we love. We spoke on privilege access at the Catalonia. Yes. And it just upgrades the experience.
Absolutely.
So
this particular property, actually both properties have privileged check-ins, dedicated areas. They have privileged bars and restaurants, and they have privileged beach areas as well. So the reason that I'm highlighting those is because if you want to feel like fling the scarf, no, you can't sit with me, then they give you that opportunity because they have specific designated areas for you and you alone with your privilege access.
Yes.
Which is a great amenity in my opinion. Additional to the privileged spaces, trying to think. I mean, obviously, you don't have to go to just the privileged spaces. You do have access to everything. Property.
It also had room service, which I didn't get to experience, but you guys try room service, right? Yeah. So privilege came with access to 24/7 room service, Correct. If I'm not mistaken. Correct. So around the clock room service in your room.
Yeah, which again, depending on what kind of resort you're staying at, room service is not always a guarantee, nor is it always included.
Yes.
So you definitely want to make sure you read that fine print, or just tell your travel advisor and they'll read it for you. But read that fine print because sometimes room service is either not included or it's an upcharge.
Right.
It also may have specific hours, or it's included with particular room categories.
Exactly.
So you really want to make sure that you do your due diligence to understand if that is a must-have for you. Make sure you can get it.
Right, exactly. I love room service as an option, so that sold me.
Yes. And of course, robes, slippers.
Yeah, the rooms were beautiful too. Like stock mini fridges with like their beer.
The
there
signature
was some
red stripe.
Jamaican rum. I believe there was like some Absolute or some type of American vodka. Yeah. And different drinks, water, sodas that was replenished every day. When we came, there was a bottle of wine awaiting. So yeah, the room was gorgeous. The amenities in the room were great.
Yeah. So it's good to point out that these two properties are the newest structures, the newest resorts in Jamaica. And why that is important is because as much as we love Jamaica, they a little washed.
Yeah, like outdated.
They a little outdated around the parts.
Outdated. Yeah. And they're fine with that because you have to understand that Jamaica is obviously a large island and a lot of their natives will also vacation there. So they're not like 100% like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Because this is a getaway, this is a hotel. But to us, when we're we have like travel in front of us on social media and we're seeing all these luxurious things and we're like, oh well, the carpet or maybe like the printed bedspread, like that's not ideal.
No.
So or even just some of the colors in some of the like older resorts can just be like a little bit outdated. So
agreed. So this one is your, traditional
Newest.
clean white lines,
Yes.
blue accents, horticulture. It just is brand spanking new, and
Gorgeous.
It feels that way.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. So I want to say Ocean Coral Spring opened in 2019, and then obviously had to close a few months later due to COVID. And then Ocean Eden Bay opened in 2021.
Right after.
So literally new, y'all. So if you desire that modern, crisp feel for your vacation experience, and you don't mind spending a little bit more to get it, then this property will really exceed your expectations. That's for sure.
1000%.
Let's talk about food.
Yes.
Because
so much food.
In case you guys don't know, we
be
love
eating.
food. Like we be
eating.
We don't care. We're gonna try it all. We're gonna order it all.
Yes.
We want it.
I love that we all were on the same page for this trip too, because like me and Tosh both are foodies, and the two people that we were with also were foodies. So we just had like such large spreads everywhere we went. Like, let's just get like 6 things. Like, yeah. So it was great to be able to like actually try all of the food at most of the restaurants on the properties.
Yes.
There was a lot to offer.
There was. So the properties basically, well, Coral Springs specifically had an area kind of like a promenade.
Yes, like an avenue.
It was an avenue that was lined with restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. And don't be alarmed by the fact that you're like, oh, it's just a bunch of restaurants. No, they all were kind of standing in their own element, meaning you felt like this was where you was going. This was the cuisine that you were looking for.
The vibe,
and the vibes, the aesthetic, even though they all shared this kind of like area, Times Square kind of feel to it. I'm going to go ahead and just say that my favorite meal was the Indian cuisine.
I knew she was going to say that.
Because for 2 reasons though. Number one, where is you getting Indian?
In Jamaica.
Or just in general.
Yes.
That's all-inclusive.
Yes. I've never had Indian food on any all-inclusive resort.
Oh. And for me, I was curious because I have traveled to India, and Shan also, we traveled to India in September of last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, we know what this supposed to taste like.
We know what it's supposed to hit for.
What's it supposed to be like? But it was good. It was right on point. And Shan loves Indian food. She eats Indian food and finds Indian food wherever
I will go back
goes.
just for that. That food was good.
It was incredible. And this, again, was one of the restaurants included with the experience at Ocean Coral Spring.
Yeah.
We were over the moon about everything we tried. And
delicious.
The ambiance, like we literally had a full-blown photo shoot in this restaurant after dinner, because in addition to the food being great, the aesthetic was giving content champion.
Yes, it was gorgeous in there. All of the restaurants were gorgeous though. Like they, like you said, they all had their own aesthetic. Like we went to the Italian restaurant for the first night, and that was one of my favorites because it literally mimicked my favorite Italian restaurant here in Philly.
Oh, really?
So I was just like, this whole setup feels like at home, and it felt so familiar. So to be able to be like in an Italian restaurant in Jamaica on your resort,
right,
and it still had that feel was like surreal. It was really good. The restaurant, they did that.
They did. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So there will be no shortage of options for you to choose. I want to say there was like 9 restaurants.
The buffet was buffeting.
Oh yeah, we did do the buffet. Oh my gosh, yes, I did. The buffet for breakfast, an incredible spread.
Yes.
And there was a woman in the buffet that if you ordered, if you wanted a specialty coffee drink, she would come to your table, make it table side, and sing a song.
I still don't know what she was saying. Like
she was saying that she basically was, I can't remember the first part, but the second half was saying Marvin's Cafe is the sweetest place, because that was the name of the buffet.
I was trying to catch what she was saying so hard.
It was so cute.
It was so cute. And it's crazy because we came back and then I saw someone was there, and I knew they were there because I heard her singing that song. So you're going to know that you're at Ocean in Jamaica when you hear her singing this beautiful song in the buffet.
Yes. So that was really dope in the morning.
Yes.
A great way to start your day.
And again, them coffees, them spiked coffees. She had like a little like coffee cream or something that was alcoholic.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 recommend.
Specialty coffee drinks, table side. experiences.
Yeah, it was
like,
great.
we live for a good experience.
Yeah, the food options were amazing. I also loved that they had that dinner and a show option.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh, this property was so good.
Yes, and that property was specifically on the Eden Bay. So it is a part of the adults only. So you have to stay at the Ocean Eden Bay to have access to the dinner and the show.
That. All right.
But I think that's a great option. And again,
legit dinner and a show, meaning like
it was a whole theater.
Yeah. Like you come down, it's multi-course, you sit there, you have the show.
Yep.
The actual theater was beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Like the layout, the chairs, everything. Again, modern, beautiful, cute. Child.
It was so cute. Yeah.
They did that. What else we got there? The entertainment we talked about. Yeah. The beach.
The beach was beautiful.
First of all, I don't know if it was just Jamaica or if it was the fact that it was late April, whatever, but the water felt so good.
Yeah. Honestly, I just feel like that's a great time to go to Jamaica. Like we went in late April.
Last week of April.
It was just so perfect.
Yes.
Like the temperature was perfect. The water was perfect.
Clear.
Everything was perfect.
Oof.
But
so good.
The private parts of the beach that we had access to with the privileged was obviously, more secluded, more quiet. But even the general parts of the beach were not like overpopulated or it didn't feel like too busy.
At all. And there weren't many people in the water, which told you like, all right, everyone's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Because we asked our tour guide, Daniel, shout out to Daniel. And he said that they were 98% occupied.
Yes, and it did not feel overwhelming. Even
at all.
Us staying at the family friendly property, I'm like, I didn't see many children.
Good.
They were like, and the ones that we did see were like teens, like like bigger kids, but I've stayed at family friend, and I don't mind. Like I'm not like I want to pay the extra for the adults only because I'll likely get off the resort anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't usually mind the kids, but I see them and I just feel like all these kids. But I did not see them. Like, I didn't feel like I was staying where the kids was. So I think they do a good job at kind of delegating the rooms as well when it comes to the rooms that may have children versus the rooms that don't. And I know they did have that one side that's close to the water park where they try to put the families.
Yeah. And it worked out. Like you said, if you would like to, save a little bit of coin and stay the family-friendly side. Number one, you're not going to sacrifice on your experience.
At all.
That's for sure. But number two, it wasn't really that many areas for kids.
No.
So they may or may not be there because when people are looking for family-friendly resorts, they're looking for amenities geared toward the children to be able to drop the children off and make it happen. And not saying that they didn't have them, but just saying, we ain't see them.
Yeah, we ain't see them. A couple other amenities at the hotel, both of the resorts offered would be the lazy river, which I didn't get to ride on.
I know.
We were so busy. But they had a lazy river on both sides, the Coral Spring and the Eden Bay side, which I thought was so cool to just be able to go to the pool bar, get a drink, and just get in the tube and just ride around the lazy river. Yeah. I've never seen that personally at any other resort.
Yeah, the property is great for hosting events, for hosting retreats. Like I just felt like it lends itself to providing everybody with an opportunity to do everything.
Whatever you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And that's funny that you mentioned groups. There were several weddings happening while we were there. And we were only there for 4 days. So like within those 4 days, there were about maybe 2 to 3 weddings happening.
Yeah.
So a good place for weddings 100%. And group trips.
And that lobby, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, both of the lobby, like you walk in, gorgeous, breathtaking. We love a good photo moment. So breathtaking resorts.
Things to do. So, of course, your traditional all-inclusive is going to include your non-motorized sports.
Yep.
And then have your motorized sports at an additional cost. So, non-motorized sports are going to be your kayaks, what are those other things called? Your paddle boards.
Exactly.
Yeah, like stuff like that. But we certainly took advantage of the motorized sports.
Yes, we had a great time.
We did. So we did the glass bottom boat tour, which you can book right on property. They have an activities team.
Yep.
that will assist you with getting that set up right there. And they will pick you up right there and take you out, which is very convenient in my opinion. You don't have to spend your day doing the transportation and doing all that other stuff. The boat pulls right up to the dock on the resort and you sail away. That glass bottom boat tour
was everything.
Was wonderful.
It was everything. Yeah, the guys were so pleasant. One thing I can say about the Jamaican culture is their hospitality is so welcoming. It's so warm. Like they just make you feel like, oh, these are my cousins.
Big facts.
So the guys, like I followed them all on Instagram. Like they are cousins. But they treated us so well. Yes. And although I think the average duration was what, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah, I think you said 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, normally 30 minutes.
So we got a little extension, TGI special.
Right.
And the guys...
We took an hour, y'all.
Yeah, we did a lot. But they was with it. Like, they was cool. With us. They were taking pictures. Like, it was, like, nothing forcefully. And it just kind of went. It was a great day. It was a great excursion.
Absolutely. And so the excursion itself was $35 per person.
Yep.
So it was the 4 of us, and we were able to take the boat out privately because no one else was going, which was cool.
Yeah.
And normally the tour, because let me set some expectations. Normally the tour is 30 minutes. The bottom of the boat is completely see-through. So they take you out to a coral space a few miles from the resort, and you can see all the fishes through the boat.
Yeah.
You can get out and snorkel if you wish and swim if you wish, and then they bring you back. Our tour was a little extended,
little freestyle,
because we really didn't want to swim and get out the boat.
Right.
Or we wanted to get out the boat.
We didn't want to snorkel.
Swim. Yeah, we didn't want to do a snorkeling. So they actually took us to a private beach that was, again, a few miles down. But this gorgeous. It honestly, it felt like St. Lucia. The way the mountain cascaded with the greenery. I was like, this feels...
It definitely didn't look like anywhere in Jamaica.
Exactly.
Yeah, it definitely didn't feel like Jamaica. It was, like, breathtaking.
Yeah, so we got out, we docked, and we got out. We did our photo shoot. This water was clear as ever.
So perfect.
And the vibes were vibing. They had the music. They had the... What's the Jamaican? What do they call it? We say weed. They've got a better name. There you go. They had all that stuff going, and it was a vibe. It was a vibe.
Tell Tosh don't smoke. She don't know what's it called.
I don't. But
we had the ganja.
I'm not gonna knock anybody.
We did get some drinks before we got on the boat, so we took some. That was one thing we didn't have like a bottle or anything with us, so we weren't able to like take cocktails with us. But we all got drinks from the bar before we got on the boat. So we had some cocktails. We had some ganja. We had some photo ops, and honestly, like this beach was like surreal. Like it was like a movie. Like this is not something you just like. It's like a castaway in a movie.
Yeah, and it was just like magical. Like it made you just sit and reflect.
Yeah,
and be appreciative for the opportunities that are available and afforded to you.
Yeah,
and honestly, that's the beauty of travel in general. Like when you go somewhere and it evokes a feeling, an emotion.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, that was a great experience. It really
Wonderful
was.
Experience.
Shout out to those guys. So if you do stay at either of the ocean properties, definitely try out the glass bottom boat. I wanted to parasail, but it was like $100 a person. So if you rich, parasail while you're there.
No, it was not if you rich, but it definitely was taxing.
Yeah. But they had a lot of stuff to offer.
I was actually surprised that the glass bottom boat experience was only $35.
It was so reasonable. I was too. After the parasailing price, I was like, I don't know.
But I was like, okay, we can we got that.
They had a bunch of different excursions though, so you can either check out. They had on the beach the tour guides that we booked with, and then inside the lobby there was the concierge decks that could book tours for you if you wanted to get picked up and kind of go to the lagoon or do something like a day trip.
Absolutely,
you're able to do that on the resort as well,
which is a perfect segue into our next point, which is kind of like things to do off of the resort.
Yep,
and how to navigate that. So. First things first, let's talk distance, because our property, the ocean property is, I would say, a good position to some of the more popular tourist areas.
Definitely.
So it was about an hour away from Montego Bay.
Yep.
Which, if you know Mo Bay, you got the hip strip.
Yeah.
You got all the clubs and all of that.
That's the hot spot.
That's the hot spot. And then it was about an hour and a half from Ocho Rios, where you typically can find Dunn's River Falls and some more popular activities as well there. And then last but not least, 2.5 hours from Negril.
Yes. And we were just like, as Tasha was mapping out the times, we're like, that seems so far. Yeah. Like to tell someone that it's a 2.5 hour drive. But usually on your excursions, you'll typically make stops along the way. So that 2.5 hours going literally felt like a half hour.
Yeah.
With like the different rest stops that we made, and we made different stops with the locals. And then coming back, you're pretty much tired.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to do in the grill as well.
Yeah. So we'll talk about, since you kind of just touched on it, let's talk about our excursion day. Because we did an excursion day, y'all.
We had a blast.
Oh, we probably had too much fun, but it was good content and great to tell you guys about. So I'll let you start because this was totally Jasmine's plug and she did that, okay?
Okay, so we did a day with Kings and Queens tour guide in Jamaica. So shout out to King. He's amazing. Love him. Like his hospitality is...
He family.
He's like, and that's what I mean about the Jamaican culture. Like, obviously, some people will say that Jamaican people can be mean and they go to the resorts and they're like,
I never experienced
it. Yeah, but everyone I interact with, I'm like, am I Jamaican? Like, do I have family here somewhere? Like, I just feel connected to this for some reason. But no, that's how good King is. That's how good this tour guide is to make you really feel like this is home.
Mm-hmm.
So this was my second time using him, as this was my second time in Jamaica. So I kind of just let him wing it for us, and he surprised us with a day full of things to do.
Yeah.
So started by him picking us up in his tour bus, which is, he will tell you the only one on the island. Like, this is the only one like this.
It is. I definitely said that.
TVs.
I was pleasantly surprised because, again, we talked about it at the top of the show. Jamaica is old and everything is old.
Yeah.
It's giving old, but it's giving vibes, This was
traditional.
Yes. Yeah. We call it traditional. Let me not call it old. That's traditional. I love Jamaica. Traditional. Great point, Jazz. But so they'll pick you up in a regular little van with little cloth seats.
Got AC.
But it got AC. Exactly. But not King. King pulled up in it felt like the Mercedes Benz.
He got the music videos playing.
The leather
seats. It's very spacious. So I think he can fit maybe 12.
They look like a 12-seater.
I believe he can fit 12 in there.
Hardwood flooring. It was nice.
Yeah.
That I was like, all right. Yeah. I can sit back. Yeah. I feel like I can trust you.
Yeah. So he picks us up in his decked out bus. Obviously, he had the ganja for the girl. He knows. So shout out to him for that. But we made some great pit stops with the locals. He's very well connected, which I love about him. Because, again, great spirit, great guy. But he makes you feel at home because he's so connected to these people that once you go to these places and you meet them, they're like, oh, you're family.
Yes.
So
if
everywhere
you with King,
you family. Like, so you get treated great everywhere you go. Hardly had to spend anything, that's a part of his tours. That's something that he includes. So if you do stop and get the fruit, he's going to pay for it. So that's kind of something that's complimentary that does come with his experience, which I think is very unique to him, but is that's 101.
Yeah.
So we stopped at the local fruit stand and were able to support a local, and she was great. She was like, all these girls,
how y'all doing?
So we tried a bunch of different local fruit. That mango,
yeah, the mango was different.
Dripping.
The mango was different. I don't care.
Mango's
and I
my
get
favorite.
Fresh fruit every day from the Asians.
Yeah,
but this mango.
That mango was drip. I'm like, what? Like, what is this?
Yes, it was different.
It was so good.
Then where we go from there?
I was just about to ask.
The jerk chicken. Child.
Yes, Mr. Biggs.
Mr. Biggs.
Shout out to Mr. Biggs.
And the cool part is, someone replied to my story and was like, oh, I stopped at Mr. Biggs before, too. So Mr. Biggs is outside.
Yes.
Like, the people know about Mr. Biggs. I just found out.
That jerk chicken was hitting, okay?
So Mr. Biggs is like a jerk chicken kind of I won't even call it a hut, but
A hut.
on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And he is apparently the bee's knees of the island. Like,
Yes.
people travel far and wide
Yes.
to come to Mr. Big's
That
jerk
chicken
chicken
was
stand.
good.
And we found out why.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it was the onions and peppers in the chicken for me.
chicken.
Like, in the chicken.
In the chicken. How he did it, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
But if you are in Jamaica and you are not with Kings and Queens, shame on you. But if you ain't with Kings and Queens, you need to tell that tour guide that you need to figure out how to add Mr. Big's jerk chicken. To the stop.
Yes.
and you're welcome.
Did we make any more stops before our final destination?
Then we stopped at the Grill Beach.
Oh, we stopped at the beach.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think we might have got the patties before we got the chicken.
We got jerk patties. We got
because you can't go to Jamaica without getting a patty. Like,
they said they was the best patties on the island. So I don't know exactly where we stopped. That was before. Well, you were familiar with that place.
Yeah, we did before.
Yeah,
bomb. And these patties, like, they give you the chicken and cheese. They give you the beef and cheese.
Veggie.
They give you the veggie, the cheese only. Like, there's variety in addition to the bombness. And that was my second time going there. So when we were pulling up, I knew exactly where we were going.
Oh, I know where we at.
Yeah, we get in the best one. I know it for sure.
So we got some patties, and then we headed to Negril Beach, which the 7 Mile Beach is somewhere you have to visit if you're going to Negril. Like, if you're going to the Negril side of Jamaica, you have to go to the 7 Mile Beach.
You do.
This is one of those beaches where it's like, the resort beach is cute. You're going to get a pic there, but this is where you go get the beach pictures. Yeah. Like, this is where you go get your beach content.
It's just like, obviously 7 miles of beach, but you don't really understand that until you're on it.
Yes.
And when you look at your content, you look at your photo, and literally you just see beach from your left and beach from your right, and it doesn't seem to stop. You're like, wow,
it's gorgeous.
This is really this is something special.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So we did that. We also stopped at a local restaurant right on the beach. Yep. The name escapes me right now, but we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll have it in the show notes.
We got some tag it.
Yeah, I remember you guys tagged it. We got some ginger shots there, some fresh ginger shots.
Which is like a big thing to do.
Yeah.
So again, if you're in Jamaica, ask for the ginger shots. Yep. They'll be like, oh, they might actually think you know something too.
They was like, y'all sure?
You might get a little bit of respect because it's a ginger shot. And what else? And then we had
our last but not least stop on our excursion day was one of, if not the largest weed farm in Jamaica.
They took me to the weed farm.
We took her to the weed farm.
I was like, what?
She's like, where we at? What are we doing? We went to the weed farm. Again, it was up to King what he wanted to do and how he wanted to showcase. I'm like, we're coming with the agency. Yeah. Like, I've prefaced what was happening, and that's what he did. So that's where we went. And obviously I loved it.
I was pleasantly surprised though, because outside of the weed farm experience, which was cool, but you do have to hike. So if you're not a hiker.
Yes, it's a hike.
Because
apparently the plant grows the best in high humidity.
In high altitude.
Yeah, so it's up in a higher altitude to kind of have that perfect temperature for growing.
And that's fine.
But it's a hike.
So I did it. And the whole time I was cursing them in my mind because I was just like, why am I here? This is not even Florida. But when I got to the top, I was pleasantly surprised. Yes. And I was kind of like inspired more from the entrepreneurial element of it.
No, seriously.
Understanding that like this one guy essentially created this farm that now services,
and how they work together to keep this, like, it's true, like, it's just such a family feel. It's crazy. I'm like, this is my uncle now, and the guy who's just like,
it was dope.
Probably like a lead grower.
It was dope though.
And it was a great experience.
Yes, it was.
And on the Weed Farm property, they do have a blue hole, a spring where, if you want to jump in the water, you can. And Tosh and Chris actually got limestone massages on property.
Yep. So it does, there is more to do than
just smoke.
Than just smoke your life away. But so that's why I said I was pleasantly surprised by the whole experience. And then the evening ended with the most amazing sunset over a rainbow. And it felt like,
show y'all that picture.
It felt, we're gonna put it in here. They have to see it. It just felt like you were supposed to be there.
Yeah,
it was the perfect day.
We're not gonna keep saying the same thing.
I know.
It was the perfect day.
So I mean, overall, obviously, if you can't tell, we loved our Jamaica experience.
Yes.
Those 4 days went fast, but they were definitely memorable.
Yes.
And impactful. So we got to see the resort life, and we got to see
the Jamaican life.
The Jamaican life, the native life. And honestly, I feel like that's a great way to travel. If you're a person that's a little bit nervous to get off property and you're like, nope, I'm just going to stay where the resort is and the resort is only.
Yes.
It's understandable, but, you know, we're here to let you know it's okay. We're alive and well. We have great recommendations on trusted tour partners that you can work with that will give you an added value to your vacation and keep you safe.
1,000%.
So, to close up our Jamaica topic.
Yes.
Favorite thing about our time in Jamaica? That face says it all.
It's a tough one. You go first.
You know, so my favorite thing is kind of a two-parter favorite thing, but it's really just one. It definitely was the glass bottom boat experience. However, I think that it was that because of who I was with. So I really enjoyed the girls trip, work trip element of our time in Jamaica.
Yes.
And I was with 3 other women that legit just got it. You know, they were on the same time as me. They were just vibing the same. We had the same interests and desires and wants and needs for each segment of our time. And that really elevated the experience for me. And of course, I just love to be on a boat. So you put me on a boat.
Period.
There's nothing that you can really say or do to me because I'm on a boat.
Period.
So that was definitely my favorite time.
That was one of my favorites. Like the vibe in general, like we love a good girls trip where it's just a smooth girls trip. Everybody gets along. Everybody's on the same page. Yeah. So that was amazing. But I would have to say the food. Y'all know I'm a foodie. It was this roasted watermelon salad with feta and sunflower seeds. Like certain things I'll never forget. So between the Indian food, there was an ice cream stand that was like open for a good bit of time throughout the evening. The food was amazing. Yeah. The food was delicious. It was a great variety, especially, you know, I always say how resort food gets that bad rep.
Yeah.
And it had a great rep. Also, we didn't get to mention it. Our last stop was KFC. We went to KFC.
How we forget the KFC?
Back from the excursion, and that was definitely one of my favorite things. What they say about Jamaican KFC is 1,000% true.
110,000%.
Get that KFC. I didn't get it the first time I was there. I said, King, we going to KFC. I don't care what we got to do.
And I really didn't care what we had
KFC
to get.
for 45 minutes and got us some chicken.
Line. We did not go to the drive-thru.
No, because the drive-thru was packed. I said, listen, I'm going in to see what's going on in here.
And she stood there. And I watched her just to make sure nobody was going to say nothing.
I met friends, too. I've got friends that I follow from KFC. Shout out to y'all. They was like, I hope the chicken is as good as they said it is. It was, friend. The chicken hit. So the food for me is my favorite.
Yeah, that KFC was different. I almost forgot about it. So that makes sense. Now that makes sense, Mother. Yes, absolutely. So more of the story is go to Jamaica.
Go to Jamaica.
Stay at Ocean Coral Spring. Get your life. Book with kings and queens for your transportation and your excursion day. Through Travel Goddess International.
Yes.
Of course.
Exactly. Because you can't even get to King without getting to us.
You won't go get to them the same way unless you go through us.
Yes.
And that is a perfect segue into the traveling travel agent.
Yes.
So if you, again, don't know, Travel Goddess International is what we do, what we love, and how we bring our vacation experiences to life and yours. So our traveling travel agent segment of the week is going to feature our travel deal of the week. Mm-hmm. And this is a good one.
It's a great one.
I just don't understand how we do it. And at this point, I got to stop trying to figure out how and just letting go and let God.
It's just magic.
Because we magic.
It's just magic.
It's the Black girl magic. Nevertheless, the travel deal of the week is a 4-day, 3-night trip to Tulum. Over Memorial Day weekend again, because for whatever reason, those dates is
popping. Like what? If you're not going nowhere, get with us now.
Today. With flights with Frontier. Mm-hmm. And staying at a 4-star accommodation in Tulum. It's a resort, too. The Waves Resort is the name of it. Mm-hmm. All of that for $290 per person.
How Sway?
Flight and hotel, 4 days and 3 nights, $290 a person.
How? Yeah.
How, Sway? I don't have the answer, Sway. This is insane.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Legit, we can spend that at brunch.
Yeah, and a flight alone to get to Mexico for $290 is crazy.
Yeah, like
so
that's a deal.
To have a beautiful accommodation with that for a holiday week, like a federal holiday weekend,
right? Like you off. You off.
That's the best part about it. You off already, so just go.
Yeah, so we, that hit our website this week, and we were like, oh yeah,
we gotta talk about
that's
that.
the one and not the two. But again, these are just some of the amazing travel deals that we put together often on the through Travel Goddess International. But of course, if you don't want the travel deal, we can also fully customize your vacation experience to your desires and needs.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of us being able to spend that amount on brunch.
Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. So this week's Brunch Abroad is funny because I talked about France's Brunchery on an episode before, and I just went to France's Brunchery. I just came from there the other day, and it was amazing. So shout out to them, Black owned. I got to speak with the owner, and I mentioned that I would, give them a review and shout them out on the podcast. It was great. So definitely check them out. But this week, Brunch Abroad is where I really went last time. It's the Duplex in Chicago. So I ended up going to the Duplex because France's Brunchery was more my style, and I was with my boyfriend. I was like, let me find something that we both can enjoy.
Right.
So the Duplex in Chicago, it wasn't bottomless actually. They had pictures of mimosas. My favorite part about the experience was the welcome shots.
Ooh.
So as soon as you come in, they give you a welcome shot, and I'm like, okay, you got me.
Yes.
So that's what really sold me on
dope.
it. Yes, the welcome shots. It was a DJ. The food was amazing. The drinks were amazing. They had bottle service, so you could either get like pictures of mimosas or get like bottles of champagne in your own carafe. So that's what we ended up doing, getting a bottle. The experience was definitely 10 out of 10. And it's nice to have like a brunch party vibe. So it was definitely like lit. Like a lit brunch. So if you're looking for a lit brunch while you're in Chicago, stop by the Duplex.
How was the food?
The food was good. Chicken and waffles is what I got. I'm always like between chicken and waffles, shrimp and grits.
That's me too.
Yeah, so but the food was great. Yes. So definitely stop by the Duplex if you are in Chicago.
It's Chicago at this point. Visit Chicago if you would like to sponsor us. We'll take it. Thank you. Last but not least, question of the day.
Yes.
Personally, my favorite segment, but if it's yours, comment below. So, question of the day, Jazz, is, and I kind of already know your answer, but this question is more for you guys.
For y'all.
Comment below your answer. But question of the day: are you gonna wing it when you touch down, or do you have a planned out itinerary? Who are you?
Y'all know I'm a Virgo, so I do not play that winged stuff. That is not even okay because I have anxiety. So I'm certainly an itinerary girl. Sometimes the itinerary changes. Like I said, for last time, I ended up going to my second brunch option versus my first. But I do like to kind of set up options and set up times and set up reservations and have everything planned.
Wow. Yeah, as much as I am a planned out girl, sometimes, especially oftentimes nowadays, I feel like I wing it a little bit. I do have ideas.
Yes.
It's not a full wing. It's a half a wing. It's not the full connection. But nowadays, I just have so much that I'm doing.
Yeah, you don't have time to plan.
If I'm not putting together this itinerary the day before, it's likely just not going to happen. And I get there and then it's like, all right. Now I have some time to myself because I'm out of my normal everyday. Now I can try to navigate this itinerary. I personally don't recommend that though, guys. I feel comfortable doing that because I have been traveling for years. But plan it out. Plan it out.
That's what I did in my most recent travel. I did that. It's like I had an idea of where I wanted to go, but I didn't have anything set in stone.
Exactly.
And just kind of played it by ear. But then I was going to do a trip like a quick day trip this weekend, and I was like, I don't have it planned. It's giving me anxiety.
Never
We're
mind.
not doing that. Yeah. So I can go back and forth.
But we would love to know what vacation style or vacation or kind of like traveler.
Yeah, you are.
Traveling style that you have or that you are.
Mm-hmm.
So comment below whether you wing it on vacation.
Or itinerary.
All right?
Let us know.
Let us know. And that's our episode today.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
As always, we appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, and share.
Yes.
You can also follow us on IG and TikTok at TravelFlySexy. And then you can send us some recommendations.
Yeah, where y'all want to hear about places, destinations, anything specific, restaurants, hotels, let us know.
Yeah, you can email us at info@travelflysexy.com. And of course, you can follow us individually because we be outside on our pages. So at Tosh Wills.
And at Sincerely Jasmine, no vowels. It'll be somewhere on here.
Yes.
But thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Awesome. And of course, if you want to travel to Jamaica, hit us up.
Yes,
Let us have it.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
See you guys next time. Bye.